Kuzambo and a very warm welcome to Bhutan This Week, our weekly news magazine program with me, Ishe Gyaltsen. Our top stories this week: deregistered Drukgyal Wangchokpa comes under the banner of DPT. Bhutan won the country's first satellite to be launched this summer end. And Bhutan crowned the champions of ACC Eastern Region Cup. Drukgyal Wangchokpa and Drukpinsum Chokpa have come together as a political party under the banner of DPT to contest in the 2018 parliamentary elections. Drukgyal Wangchokpa deregistered as a political party on Monday.
In a press conference today, former party president Lilu Wangchuk and other former members said Drukgyal Wangchokpa decided to deregister for various reasons. One is the lack of state funding and to carry forward their ideology using a different platform and to prevent further fragmentation of the society, among others. The two parties came to this decision after a year-long discussion. Drukpinsum Chokpa is expected to talk to media soon about the decision.
Eventually, it was DPT who was more open to the idea of incorporating our manifesto into their manifesto. They were also open with the idea of merger between DCT and DPT.
Lilu Wangchuk will now be DPT's candidate for North Thimphu constituency.
Initially, both DPT and DNT were only interested in me contesting as their candidate for North Thimphu. I had my own principles and ethics. I was not in favor of abandoning my party for a party ticket from another platform.
Lilu Wangchuk said there are 30 candidates with the deregistered DCT and there are no candidates in 10 constituencies for DPT. A meeting will be held to fill in the vacancy. Drukgyal Wangchokpa submitted application signed by 15 founding members expressing their desire for deregistration to the Election Commission. The party was registered in 2013 and secured about 12,000 votes or 5.9% of the total votes in the primary round. The party was not eligible for state funding since it did not secure 10% of the total votes. Kiledem, PBS News.
Bhutan is only less than 2 months away from its third National Council elections. If there is one thing that has not changed since the first elections in 2008, it is poor women participation. The number of aspiring female candidates for the upcoming NC elections remains dismal. A staggering 175 aspiring candidates have registered, but of that, only a mere 8 are women. In this story, our reporter Samtin Dolkar finds out why only a handful of women come forward to take part in elections.
In 2008, 6 female candidates contested against 46 male in the National Council elections. In 2013, it was only 4 women candidates against 67 men. And this time, just 8 women against 167 men. This downward trend is a cause of worry for Phuntsok Chodin, the Executive Director of Bhutan Network for Empowering Women, BINU. While there are a host of factors, she says the deeply entrenched societal, cultural, and traditional beliefs, stereotypes, and norms surrounding gender roles are the main reasons why improving women participation in elections remains an uphill task.
Because of the way we've been socialized, I think, and then also I think in the way we are socialized, like, girls, we should be good girls, and then, the definitions of a good woman or a good girl, being modest, being humble, being gentle, being not bold and loud, and, being out there. And I think these are the, characters, characteristics rather, that we've been groomed to nurture and be. Girls have always been protected and sheltered and kept at home. I think that is one of the things because of which girls are not easily stepping out into the public sphere.
Poor women participation is problematic in many ways. It means decision and policy making would lack women's voice. And research has proved that women make better laws, one that is more representative of societal needs and concerns.
The kind of laws even in terms of numbers and also the quality of the laws that come out of the parliament, or even policies that are developed in circles where there are more women, are much more of a higher quality in terms of more representative of societal needs and concerns. In terms of also women being more concerned and aware, being the mother, being the wives, having been there in society, doing multiple roles in society. Women do not take up only women's issues, but women actually take care of social issues.
BNU does a lot to empower women. Still, a lot remains to be done to create an enabling environment for women, and the effort has to come from the government as well as relevant agencies. For the women themselves, BNU's executive director says how the elected women leaders perform can go a long way in changing societal attitudes towards women leadership.
The day, I think, once there are elected women, then all eyes are on them. Their performance is of utmost importance to ensure that more women in the future can get elected.
It is certain that the upper house, like in the past, will have more males than female members. But what the future has in store for the National Assembly remains to be seen. With camera person Puptashi, Samtandolkar, BBS News.
The ongoing Wangdipo Rongzong reconstruction project has reached its midway with over 50% of the works complete. The focus is presently on the construction of the main tower and administrative blocks.
Along with its former aesthetic grandeur, the Utsi or main tower will also be equipped with modern amenities such as earthquake resistance technology. Its roofing is expected to be complete by mid of next month. The project officials are planning to install its serto coinciding with Jabdung Kuchi in April.
We expect to complete the woodworks for the roofs by day after tomorrow. We are almost ready for the installation of serto.
For the administrative blocks, over 50% of the construction works is complete. Works on the second courtyard, which will house the Dukhang and Dratsang, will begin from mid of this year. Since the works commenced in January 2014, the reconstruction works have not faced any major hindrances. However, the completion deadline had to be rescheduled from December this year to 2021 due to change in the zone's structural design.
Sometimes it is very windy in the afternoon and it can be risky to work on the roofing works. So during that time we are involved in other works. For the Utse, since we are introducing new technologies, it becomes difficult getting the required materials. We have to order it from outside the country. Sometimes those we get do not fit. Some materials are not readily available even in Jaigong or Siliguri. We have to order from Mumbai. This consumes time.
So far, of the 1 billion Newton allocated for the reconstruction works, around 480 million Newton has been spent. The Wangdipo Dazong, built over 300 years ago by Jabdungao Namgyal, was destroyed by a fire in June 2012. For Komal Kharka in Wangdifoda, Sunampem for BBS News.
Mongar Dzongkhak Tsoktu has come up with a strategy to tackle Kongtong issue. In its recent session, local leaders agreed on collecting fines for leaving the houses as Kongtong. The matter will now be discussed with the people.
During the meeting, Sakling Gyok submitted the proposal of collecting 4,500 ngultram from every absentee household. Mangmi Pematensen said the issue was discussed in detail with his Gyok's people.
During our recent Gyeok Sok Day, we agreed to collect 4,500 ngitam from each Kungtong as fine. In case they fail to do so, we decided to cut the power and drinking water supplies from that particular household.
Some members supported the move since Kungtong is becoming a cause of concern and requires immediate attention.
Even in our Geok Tsokde, we decided to come up with stringent rules and regulations for those people leaving their houses empty. We have submitted our interventions to the Zongkok Tsokdo for further discussion and endorsement.
People say they also want to abandon their house. They complain that those living in the village have to contribute labor for such works such as constructing irrigation channel or drawing drinking water. And when it's complete, the absentee households are benefited as well, which is not fair.
The proposal will now be submitted to the Zongkok Tsokdo's Legislative Committee for review. At the same time, the local leaders will discuss the issue with the public of their respective gyoks. The feedback and changes will be tabled in the next session. However, for Sakhalin, the gyok administration will implement the rule since its gyok Tsokde endorsed it. Today, Mongar has 455 absentee households. Of it, the highest is in Kenkar with 81 gungtongs. Meanwhile, the National Land Commission Secretariat is also mapping gungtongs in the country and factors causing it. So far, the field survey has been completed in 4 districts. For Sonam Sering in Mongar, Sonam Phunso, BBS News.
Meanwhile, for younger Geok in Tashiga, the situation of gungtong is changing for the better. Many people who left their homes a few years ago are now coming back.
It has been 4 years since Chaitandama's return to her home in Dalipangma. She has now found her footing, and considering the developments her village has seen in recent years, living again for another place seems out of question.
I left my house as Gungtong for 2 years, but after the village was connected with road and electricity, I thought it would be better to return home. Now there is no human-wildlife conflict as well.
Like her, of the 12 Gungtongs in Dalipangma a few years ago, today there are only 2.
I decided to return, thinking my house might turn into ruins if it is left as Gungtong. For an illiterate person like me, it is better to live in the village. For those with jobs, things are different.
I was resettled in Dagana and had given my land here to my brother. But later I had to come back since my brother could not continue cultivating the land. I feared it might turn into forest. Today I am cultivating potatoes on the land.
For the Geok administration, it is easier to plan developmental activities when there are no gungtongs.
When there are gungtongs, it is difficult to carry out any kind of collection. There are no people turning up for meetings. This affects in disseminating information and creating awareness on various issues. Earlier, being a remote place without modern facilities, the Geok had more number of gungtongs.
For now, there are about 30 gungtongs in Younger Geok. For Sringzam in Tashkang, this is Pimal Harden for BBS News.
By the end of summer, Bhutan will have its first satellite orbiting the Earth. The miniature satellite is called Bhutan 1 and weighs less than 2 kilograms. 4 Bhutanese studying space engineering at the Kyushu Institute of Technology in Japan have been building the satellite.
Bhutan is part of a joint global multinations project BIRDS 2. Along with the Philippines and Malaysia, Bhutan's first CubeSat is ready to be delivered to the Japan Space Exploration Agency or JAXA. Today, a joint press conference was held among the 3 nations and the institute to mark the completion of the flight model.
In this day and age, space science and technology, and more importantly its applications, have become indispensable to facilitate development, and also important sectors such as communication, disaster risk mitigation, management, weather reporting for agriculture, global weather monitoring and navigation are impossible without space technology and its various applications.
The CubeSat will be delivered to Japan's Space Exploration Agency sometime in April. It will then launch it to space either from Japan or the United States. Sharab Doji, BBS News.
People of Lingji Gyeok in Thimphu can now look forward to brighter lives literally. The Bhutan Power Corporation Limited will test its electricity supply system soon.
Today, power cables run over the roofs of houses in Lingji, one of the most remote villages of Thimphu. It will not be long before they are put to use. Without an electrical grid power supply, people have been managing with solar panels for the energy.
Once we get the power supply, I am planning to open a shop here. I lived in Parok before doing some business. However, it was difficult and the returns were not so good. Here, I think any kind of business will thrive. The perspective is better here.
Having access to a proper electricity supply will have a huge difference in our lives. We can install electric fences and address the human-wildlife conflict that we are facing at the moment. We can watch television and even work at night whenever necessary.
The solar panels do not function properly because we do not get enough sunlight. We have to use kerosene lamps like in the past. Once we have the electricity supply, we will be able to maintain cleanliness in our community. We can also teach new things to our children through television. They will get better exposure of the world outside.
Once we get the power supply, we will not have to fetch firewood for heating purposes. At the moment, we go to the riverside to wash our clothes. There we have to heat water in a pot and wash. With the supply, we can heat water at home using electric heaters.
The electrification works began in July 2015. It was completed in October last year. The Australian government and the Royal Government of Bhutan jointly funded the project. The Chief Project Manager of Rural Electrification Division of PPC said the final statement of accounts is yet to be worked out. The project will benefit over 100 households of Lingji. For Changadoji, Pasangdoji, BBS News.
People of Sejong and Taretan in Gyelephu are not happy with the quality of blacktopping over the Gyeok Center roads. They say the layer of blacktopping is not up to the mark. Blacktopping works in the two Gyeoks started in January this year.
Blacktopping works for Taretan Gyeok was complete recently. For Sejong, it is ongoing.
The quality of work being carried out here is not so satisfying. The base course work is poorly done and the layer of blacktop is very thin.
Thanks to the government, we now have a Gyeok Center road, but we are short of fund for clearing a drainage system. We have requested the Gyeok office and roads department. Nothing has been done so far. We are concerned because with the monsoon approaching, without a drain, blacktopping the road would be a waste of resources.
We have a Gyeok Center road, but it lacks quality. Forget about heavy vehicle. Even bikes damage the road. This shows the poor quality of the work. We informed the concerned people last time, but they would not listen to us.
The Department of Roads Chief Executive Engineer C.B. Monger disagreed. He says the works have been carried out as per the contractual requirements. The roads officials who are always on site constantly monitor the quality of the work.
At the completion of the work, the regional office will fill the committee again, check its quality assurance, quality control test, and the bill should be accompanied by quality control test reports what it is being there in the specification, and accordingly will pay the bill to the contractor.
The blacktopping projects for the two gyeoks are worth about 54 million Newton. Fokarmong the Ingelifu, Pasangdoji, PBS News.
If drinking water scarcity in the community continues, villagers of Panabi in Jamgang might just have to relocate themselves to another place. For years, the locals have been facing the problem, which the relevant authorities have not been able to solve despite repeated attempts.
With every passing year, locals claim of the problem worsening. Nearby water sources are drying. In 2014, the Gyeok administration constructed a tank and installed an electric water pump below Panabi village to address the water shortage issue. However, it did not work as there was no enough water from the source to pump. Today, villagers manage with water stored in plastic tanks, but filling it is a tedious task. They have to walk for about half an hour to the water source, and it's an uphill climb on their way back.
The water supply the government provided does not reach our village, and it works only during summers. Access to water is a problem here.
In summer, we store water from the rain-fed groundwater. We have to save it for winter as well. As of now, we fetch water from sources located in far-off places. For washing purposes, we go down where there is another source, but it's drying as well. Without water, it's difficult to maintain hygiene at home.
The Gyeok administration said after the water pumps failed to take water to the village, there are no other alternatives they can think of but to relocate the village.
We have suggested villagers to relocate themselves. There is a state land in Kulamti, but villagers are reluctant to do so. From the Gyeok administration side, we do not see any other possibilities.
From the nearest roadhead, it takes about 2 hours uphill walk to reach Panabi. It has 8 households and people solely depend on agriculture for sustenance. For Pema Samrup in Jamgang, Sunmongdi, BBS News.
Although the art of blacksmithing is a dying profession in the country, the farm tools of Lok Bahadur Biswa have gained popularity in Samsi. The 53-year-old veteran blacksmith owns the only blacksmithing workshop in the district.
Lok Bahadur first laid his hand on the hammer and anvil when he was 9. He learned the art of making farm tools from his father. He spends over 10 hours every day at his workshop and makes sickles, spades and swords, among others. People place orders from 5 other districts, but he hardly meets the demand due to lack of a full-time helper. Lok Bahadur's brother-in-law helps him with the work sometimes, as his only son is into other business. Through blacksmithing, he raised and educated all his children.
यो काम चाहिँ बस्तीको लागि नभइ नहुने रहेछ बस्तीमा मान्छे अहिले यो काम गर्ने मान्छे कोही छैन मैले नै अहिले यहाँ गरेर अहिलेसम्म सबै यो चाङबारी डिस्ट्रिक्टमा
Since we do not have many blacksmiths here, I have been trying to serve almost all the farmers in our district. Dying of the art of blacksmithing has already hampered the villagers, and here I am trying my best to continue the business as youth are not interested in it. I am afraid there will hardly be any person interested in the business in future.
तर काम गरेर मलाई कोही छैन साथी चाहिँ छैन र एक्लै भए पनि मैले अहिले गाउँ बस्तीको काम राम्रोसँगले गरेर चलाइरहेको छु.
He earns about 30,000 Newton in a month, and it is his main source of income. Farmers from far and near come to him for his quality products.
अरू ठाउँ यस्तो अब बनाउने ठाउँ छैन बनाउनु जाँदाखेरि हामी इन्डियामा जानुपर्छ अब यताबाट साम्ची जानु पर्यो चेकपोस्टमा नभए
We don't have any other place to get such tools apart from this workshop. If we do not come here, we have to go all the way to India. And to go to India, we need a vehicle to travel, wasting our money unnecessarily, and our money flows out too. Lok Bahadur makes good quality tools and everything is available.
अब हतियार पनि अब राम्रै बनाउँछ पहिलादेखि अब बनाएर ल्याएको उहाँलाई अन्त यहाँनेर सबै कुरो बनाउँछ अब.
With no one showing interest to learn the art, it looks like Lok Bahadur will have to continue to hammer, bend and cut. For Domchizam in Samsi, This is Pemal Hardin for BBS News.
Bhutan are the champions of the Asian Cricket Council Men's T20 Eastern Region Cup. Bhutan defeated Thailand by 3 runs in the finals. In what was a nail-biting match, the Bhutanese team held their nerves to win the match in the final over.
A jubilant moment for the Bhutanese players as they celebrate the sweet victory with the head coach. Bhutan managed to crawl back into the match and snatch victory from the hands of Thailand. It was a sensible decision to bat first after winning the toss. A 46 runs mid-innings partnership between two of Bhutan's most experienced players, Jigme Singye and Thile Jamso, ensured Bhutan set a target of 102 runs for Thailand to chase. Thailand's chase started off in style, scoring 33 runs in the first 3 overs. However, Bhutan managed to pull things back by taking wickets after wickets. Thailand's captain Daniel Jacob was the only player to put up a fight. 10 runs were required of the last over and Thile Jamso kept his cool with the ball to ensure Bhutan a well-fought victory. Bhutan's captain Jigme Singye was named player of the tournament for his all-round performances in the tournament. Suprit Pradhan, who gave Bhutan the crucial wickets in the final, was awarded the best bowler of the tournament. After finishing second best in a few finals in the past, this is the first time Bhutan has won an international cricket tournament. Sharab Doji, BBS News.
Well, that's all for this week. You can also get updated through our Facebook page or visit us on our website at www.bbs.bt. Thank you for joining us.